Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where I discuss all things human design. On today's episode, I'm going to be covering the Ajna energy center and the different gates found within it. If you've been following along for a while now, then you may have already seen my other videos covering the different energy centers and their gates. As always, I will be referencing the textbook, which is the definitive book of human design, The Science of Differentiation, that was co-written by the founder, Ra-Uru Hu, as well as my own notes that are 8 years and counting. I'm super excited to dive into the Ajna Energy Center, but before I do, if you're new here, I have linked several resources in the description box below where you can learn more about human design for free. And I would really appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe as I put out 2 new videos each week focused on how to apply human design to our real life experience. All right, so with that, let's talk about the Ajna. The Ajna is a really interesting energy center as it has to do with our point of view, judgment, and opinion. If you have a defined Ajna, then you may find that your opinions are quite defined. You might be very opinionated, versus if you have an undefined Ajna, you may be more open to different opinions and judgment. If you have a defined Ajna, you may find that you actually are energized by a good debate or negotiation, versus if you have an undefined Ajna, this might actually exhaust you. From my own personal experience having an undefined Ajna, I can tell you that there have been multiple times where I've had clients force their friends or partners with a defined Ajna into a human design reading. Now, some of them were open because they wanted to learn more about human design. However, many of them were not interested in learning about human design, and because they were forced and they had to sit through a human design reading, they didn't really necessarily absorb the information in the same way. Those with a defined Ajna, it's really important that they form the opinion on their own, that they do the research, that they gain the knowledge, and then they come back to learn more. So even though they weren't interested and they sat through that, I personally started to feel exhausted by the end of the reading because I also knew that they weren't necessarily there to have a human design reading because they were interested, rather they were being forced into it. That's just a personal experience. But it is really interesting to observe if you have an undefined Ajna, when you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to make a point or prove yourself and the person in front of you has a defined Ajna and you feel like you're just not getting anywhere. So with that, let's jump into the gates. I have linked the timestamps for each gate down below, and I will be starting with gate number 4. Gate 4 is the gate of formalization. These are people who are extremely logic driven. They are really good at understanding logic. However, they avoid having to use their logic. So for example, if you are invited to join a board game and you have a gate 4, you might already know that that board game is going to take hours to finish and it might not interest you. So you actually decide to go and sit in the other room and read a book. However, hours later, just as you predicted, everyone is calling you in to help settle and understand who is the final winner. And using your logic, you're able to determine this quite easily. So oftentimes you're able to see the logic in the chaos, but you're not necessarily jumping and diving into it. You're kind of a little bit reluctant to go in and try to understand the chaos because it's not necessarily in your interest, although you are very logically minded. The next gate is such a fun one. This is gate 11. Gate 11 is the gate of ideas, and it really is that, the gate of ideas. Those with a gate 11 may find that they are constantly in touch with the universe and constantly receiving different hits of information and ideas that are coming through to them. Some of these ideas are meant for you to act on. Sometimes they're meant for you to bring up to a friend or a colleague. And then other times they're just simply silly ideas that the universe is planting in your head, as we need to remember the universe has such a sense of humor. The next gate to discuss is gate 43. Gate 43 is the gate of insight. And these are people who literally bring down information from the future into our present moment. And their insights and thoughts are quite different than what we would expect in our current reality. It is because of this that their insights are very unique, quite innovative, and a lot of inventors and entrepreneurs do have this gate defined. We see it in the founder of human design. He has the gate 43 and he brought to us this human design knowledge. And even though human design is based on many ancient modalities, he brought this way of thinking to the world in 1987, and not many people necessarily jived with it. It wasn't necessarily a popular insight or idea to have, but he shared it, and with his 23, the gate opposite of the 43, that channel, he shared it with the ability to let go of the emotion and really trust that those that needed to hear about this new idea of human design would be able to hear about it and would join on the journey of experimenting and learning and adapting human design into their lives. The gate 17 is quite a funny one, and I often say that this is the gate that every lawyer should have or might interact with. And the gate 17 is the gate of opinion. And it's all about substantiating opinions with facts. So for example, if you believe that you should not drink dairy milk, you might provide factual information of that opinion. You might provide facts to someone about why they should not drink dairy milk. However, at the end of the day, drinking dairy milk or not is still an opinion. So this is important also to be aware of when you're trying to force an opinion on someone else with factual information. You can always share and invite someone to learn about your opinion and provide facts, but at the end of the day, it is never our responsibility to force anything upon anyone else. So remembering that and being mindful, and also being mindful when you notice others also trying to substantiate their opinions with facts and determining if something is a fact versus an opinion. The next gate I'm going to speak about is gate 47, and gate 47 is the gate of realization. These are those that love to have revelations. They're constantly connecting different dots, looking at different things. They enjoy the mystery of it all, and it's actually something that's quite motivating for them. And the last gate I'll be speaking about today is gate 24. Gate 24 is the gate of rationalization, and these are those that are always pondering and thinking about the truth and wondering what everything means and questioning everything. And what's important is not to get too caught up in trying to create an answer to every question you have in your mind. A lot of times this gate can lead to feelings of impatience, and impatience literally gets us nowhere. So being aware of when you're trying to force answers rather than just being mindful and letting the answers come through. All right, that's all for today. I discussed the 6 gates found within the Ajna. We talked about gate 4, those that are really good at solving problems and being super logical, but not necessarily looking to dive into things that are too chaotic. We looked at gate 11, this idea where you're receiving all these different insights from the universe all the time, and it's up to you to determine what you're meant to act on versus what is just the universe being silly and planting in your mind. We talked about the gate of insight, gate 43, where you are constantly receiving interesting ideas that are quite innovative, but might not necessarily be popular yet in our present day experience. We spoke about gate 17, those of us that are able to substantiate our opinions and back them up with facts. We spoke about gate 47, those that love to have revelations and have all these different mysterious ideas and thoughts around how everything connects. And lastly, we spoke about gate 24, which is all about really taking time to be mindful and think about things to get to your answers of all the questions you have, and remembering not to necessarily get too caught up in that and have that feeling of impatience. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new about your own human design chart. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these gates defined, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I put out 2 new videos each week all about human design and our real life experience.